Why did people start eating Egyptian mummies? The answer to why people thought cannibalism was good for their health goes back to a time when Europeans were obsessed with Egyptian mummies, reaching to the craziest corners of European history. Firstly, this cannibalism, which began with the belief that human remains could cure anything from the plague to headaches, extended to the craziest corners of European history, including the eerie notions of post-meal entertainment held by the Victorian public, and lasted from the Middle Ages to the 19th century. Mummy madness. The belief that mummies could cure illnesses led people to eat something with a terrible taste for centuries. This product, obtained from mummified bodies, was a medicinal substance made from the remains of mummies brought from Egyptian tombs, sold in pharmacies, and consumed by both rich and poor for centuries. In the 12th century, pharmacists were using ground-up mummies for their earthly medicinal properties. Mummies remained a prescription drug for the next 500 years. In a world without antibiotics, doctors were prescribing crushed skulls, bones, and flesh to treat various illnesses ranging from headaches to reducing swelling to curing the plague. However, not everyone thought the same way about this. A royal physician named Guy de la Fontaine had doubts about mummies being a useful medicine, and in 1564, he saw fake mummies made from dead peasants in Alexandria. He realized that people could be deceived. In fact, real mummies were not used for every treatment. These fraudulent activities carried out show an important point. There was a constant demand for dead meat for use in medicine, but the supply of real Egyptian mummies was unable to meet that demand. Pharmacists were distributing medicinal plants and mummy drugs until the 18th century. The medicine of mummies. The best medicines were made from ancient mummies, but some doctors believed that fresh meat and blood had a vitality that was absent in those long dead. In fact, claims of the efficacy of medicines made from fresh meat had even convinced nobles. After suffering a seizure, King Charles II of England took medicines made from human skulls. Until 1909, doctors commonly used human skulls to treat neurological conditions. Since doctors claimed that mummies were made from pharaohs, the consumption of mummies as medicine appeared to be fitting for aristocrats and the royal family. Mummy shows. Napoleon's first expedition to Egypt in 1798 aroused curiosity in Europe. As a result of this expedition, travelers who went to Egypt in the 19th century were allowed to bring all the mummies they bought on the streets to Europe. From the 19th century onwards, people no longer consumed mummies to cure diseases. The Victorians organized unwrapping parties, where mummies would be unwrapped in private parties just for entertainment purposes. Initially, these mummy unwrapping events had at least some medical credibility. In 1834, Surgeon Thomas Pettigrew unwrapped a mummy at the Royal College of Surgeons. In his time, autopsies and surgeries were performed in public, and this mummy unwrapping event was just a public medical procedure. Soon, even the claim of medical research was lost. Mummies were no longer seen as medical, but as exciting. The dinner host who could entertain the audience while unwrapping a real mummy was a wealthy person. The excitement of seeing dried flesh and bones as the wrappings were removed attracted crowds, whether it was at a private home or in a theater of an educated society. The curse of the mummy. The mummy unwrapping parties came to an end at the beginning of the 20th century. The disturbing thrills and inevitable destruction of archaeological remains seemed sad. Then, the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb sparked a craze that shaped everything from the door motifs at the Chrysler Building to the design of Cartier's watches in the Art Deco style, a decorative and architectural movement that emerged between 1925 to 1940. The sponsor of the Tutankhamun expedition, Lord Carnarvon, died suddenly in 1923 due to natural causes, but it was soon attributed to a superstition, the curse of the mummy. Modern mummies. In 2016, Egyptologist John J. Johnston publicly unveiled the opening of a mummy for the first time since 1908. This partly artistic, partly scientific, and partly performance event presented a captivating show on what it was like to participate in a Victorian-era unwrapping. Today, the black market of ancient artifacts, including mummies, is worth approximately $3 billion. No serious archaeologist would open a mummy, and no doctor would recommend eating one. However, the allure of mummies is still strong. They are still being sold, still being exploited, and still a commodity. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to help me give you general knowledge.